Hi everyone. So in this video we're going to explore how to create the rack style store procedure in Azure SQL Database. This is a new feature that introduced with Azure SQL. So you can create the rack kind of um, stored procedure. So it's not about the stored procedure. It's all about retrieving the data with the vector search and how can we incorporate everything inside the one stored procedure and make it as a like simple stored procedure. So what if the SQL database could actually understand the meaning behind the user's question? So instead of searching the exact word, how do we usually be searching, like we put where condition, uh, something like product review equal or like command, so that kind of word we are using. Let's say instead of searching the exact word, we could ask like a question, like natural language question, like what, for example, what mountain bike can handle really a technical rocky trails. So this kind of question, so you can't simply search the word like rocky trails or technical some terms. So in this example, what we are going to build, we'll take a user question. So in this example, we take a user question, turn it into embedding model, use a SQL Server vector search and function, and find the most relevant review information from the review table. Then format those review as a JSON context. Then we send that to AI model, and this one, then the AI will be generating the information based on the retrieval that using the vector search information. So I'm telling again, like user, you are writing a one question, for example, what bike is good for rocky technical rails, and you are changing this question into embedding model, and then passing that question as a vector. Then based on this question, so we are doing the vector search in the product review table and finding like top 5 or 10 record from the product review table that exactly something meaningful to your question. So the vector search, it gives some understanding some of the meanings and try to get best answers from the existing review. And we're picking the top 5 relevant reviews and format as a JSON, and as a kind of application, we using those record and creating augmented prompt and passing that prompt to AI model and getting the answer like in the way like human can understand. Let's straight away go into the example. So in this case, I'm using the Visual Studio. So I have a table called product review. So this is related to the adventure work. It's a virtual bicycle company. So I'm using the same one. So if I look at this one, the product review table, you can see I have a column called review, product ID, rating, and review title, and the review text. So you can see this text is the review text is the most important one, where we are going to store as a vector and finding the user questions answers from this review text in combination with the review title. Okay, so if you look at this product in this one, so you don't have any columns. So you can see in Watcham acts as a review text. Okay, now let's do one by. So first we need to create a master key. So I already created just a normal master key. So I already created. So it's just passing you one of the password and master encryption key. So I already created, so I don't run it again. Create the database scope. So this one come from your you can see the OpenAI endpoint. So this one I created from Microsoft Foundry. So you can see in Microsoft Foundry, I have deployed two models here. So GPT 5.4 mini and text embedding 3 small. So this embedding model, the one going to be used in the Azure SQL to create the vector from the text, and the GPT 5.4 mini I'm going to use for from producing the answer from the LLM. So this embedding is for vector and GPT for LLM. So this is my Azure I created this model from Microsoft Foundry. So I need to take this embedding value. So you can find the what do you call the project endpoint, and I'm passing that one here. All we need to do is just passing this is my project name. So what I'm doing, create a database scope credential. Identity is a managed identity is more secure, and for which one? So it's a cognitive service as well. That's how. So this one create the managed identity. So where your Azure SQL can access Azure SQL database engine can access the Microsoft Foundry, the models that I deployed. So I creating this one. Okay. Now I create the manage identity. So it's granting the access. Now I'm creating the model. So in this model, so you can see creating an external model reference to the embedding. So where you can see I created text embedding 3 small. So here again I need to be pass my project name, and again here also same. You don't need to change anything else. So here I'm using this is a location where I'm going to asking, you can see in the OpenAI deployment text embedding 3 and the API version, and the API format is Azure API, model type is embedding, and model is text embedding 3 small, and the credential where I create this credential scope credential I'm passing. So now I'm creating the external model. So once I create the external model, what I'm going to do is I need to create, instead of this text review text, I need to create one more column called review vector. So this text will be converted as a vector and store. So I'm adding one column. You can see I just refreshing. You can see the vector. So the 1536 is the dimensions, how many dimensions you need for this vector. So this 1536y need to be matched with the embedding model that you are choosing. So the text embedding 3 small having 1536 model. So once I create this one, then I'm just so all we need to do is just to using the update. I'm going to create this update column. It's very straightforward. So you are going to using the AI generative embedding and using the name, product name, and review title and review text all together using my model I created earlier and storing that value. So here I just put some additional value to create embedding into the batch. When you I have only around 600 record, but in the production you might have the hundreds of thousand records, so you can burn all the tokens and reach out the limit. So the best practice to use just to run as a batches. So I'm just running this one. This might take some time. So what happening is review text using the model that I created and embedded into and storing is a review vector. Cannot be used to invoke external REST endpoint. Okay, you can see there's a small problem with my okay, I need to create. I dropped this one and I dropped the model and recreate it again. Okay, I'm creating it again because it's my mistake. One, yeah. So I'm running again this one. So yeah, this should be fine. It might take few minutes to run because each and every records converted review text are converted into vector. So I will add the review vector. You can see it's 54 minutes. Yeah, you can see it's like updated 30 record. So I have 120 and 140 record. Let's assume so this one. You can see like now this review text converted as a review vector. So this is the review vector. If you click here, you can see 1536 records there. So this is one of the example of the vector. So once you create the vector, so now what we are going to do is I'm creating a database scope consider. So this is a preview feature. I'm on the preview feature. Then I'm allowing the stale vector index. So the vector index is something new feature. You can see now I can show under the index, you have only primary key unique. So now I'm allowing this one. I'm allow the table to remain writable after the vector index creation. So now I'm creating the index. So it's creating the disk ANN vector index for fast appropriate nearest neighbor search. So we will look this one how this is working in another video. But this video you just remind that we are using the disk ANN vector index. So it's the same as you are creating the other indexes. So I'm creating the vector index. This is the index name. And this is the table. This is the column, the vector column. Then matrix is I'm using cosine and type is this is the one disk and so I'm just creating this one. So now if you refresh this index, you can see there's a review index. It's like a non-clustered, non-unique, not cluster. This is the index we created. So we can see what are the advantages of creating these indexes and all later. But in this question, let's see how to create the stored procedure kind of application. Okay, now convert the question. So now everything's ready. Now I am putting the question and asking the question and converting that question into a vector format. Again, I'm using the embedding model, and I'm searching the top 5 from this review. So here I'm using again, you can see the vector search. So this will be returned the records vector search. So I'm limiting to top 5 record. I'm using the cosine. So if I run this one, you can see these are the top five that related records that related to the question the user want. Okay, now build an augmented prompt with the database content. Now we get the 5 records from the database. So RAG is what, instead of getting the answer from the LLM, you are providing your organization input to the LLM and produce the data from your organization data. So now build the augmented prompt with the database context. For example, here the same thing, and these are like the normal way of how to write a retrieval, relevant, review, and vector search. So the additional information is, you can see the build a augmented prompt using the JSON object and JSON array. So this is the so we retrieve top 5 record and passing that into the as a information as a payload. So here you can see maximum completion token. Those are like a parameters. So here again, so now you can see once I produce this augmented prompt, I pass this prompt into AI. So using this one, calling Azure OpenAI, call OpenAI. Let's look at the older step again. So we're defining a variable called for the user question. The question is, what is the best bike for commuting to work in the rainy weather? That question then convert into a vector using our my embedding model using AI generate embedding. Then, as I told, we are picking the top 5 return value from the vector search. Vector search, then this parameter is not needed because I have filtered here top 5. Then here, then the return value, we just doing a building a augmented prompt using the JSON object and JSON array. So the variable called playbook. So you can see here we are defining the role equal to system. So the content is your adventure works product assistant, answer question using only provided the product review and data. You can see this is the important one. This is what we are calling it's a RAG application. So mention specific customer experience from the review when relevant, and be concise and helpful. If the data does not contain enough information, say no. So then the role for user. So that's the question we need to be passed. So review products, so you can see the content and the customer question. So you are passing it. And after you construct the payload and you are passing that to OpenAI LLM, so what will happen? So it will be generating the answer from this input. So how do we call Azure OpenAI? So you can see here, this is the method. Like you are passing the URL. So here I'm using the project 2 and here as well. So we are calling the API. You can see that I used a model called GPT 5.4 mini and getting the value and return the value that answer from the AI. Let's put all together in a one stored procedure. So I'm creating a one stored procedure. So the parameters are questions and the LLM answer is the output. So two parameters. So all are the same. So first one is convert the question to embedding. Then second step is retrieve the relevant review using ANN vector search. And here I'm using only top 5 record. So I'm deleting this top n parameter. I don't know, some reason is the new model is not working for that parameter. So then after that, check if the context was retrieved. So if this is retrieved, then you are building the augmented prompt. So you can, it's like standard things, right? You are defining the role and then the role system. So content your adventure work product assistant, follow this rule, answer only using the provided product data, reference specific customer experience from the review when relevant. Third one, include star rating, help the customer assess product quality, keep response under the 150 words, suggest related product when relevant. And the role is user. So again, I told the role user is the way you passing your question, customer question. So the maximum token. So this is a maximum completed token. So these are like we need to use the new parameters. Here, then again, after you construct the JSON using the augmented prompt and you are passing the value to the LLM, GPT 5.4 mini, and these are some of the answer handling, error handling, and also I'm going to be create this stored procedure. So I will first drop procedure. If already created, I'm not sure. Procedure. So I need to be edit connection and so I put everything in one stored procedure. So I'm just creating the stored procedure. You can see the stored procedure is created. So the stored procedure name is ask product question. So as I told, two parameter question, then the answer is the output parameter. Let's try with few questions. Okay, I'll create a new query. So this is my question. So my question is, I write before sunrise and after dark. What light actually works well? You can see this question is all about light. Let's run it and see. You can see we're just running as a stored, the reg application. It's running just like a stored procedures. So let's run this one. So this vector search retrieve the 5 relevant matching record review from based on this question, and the LLM going to be decide whether it contain the answers or not. So you can see it says I only have a review for ML work, LL headset, neither include what I can say from the review. ML folk has strong commuting feedback and no rider use it 12 minutes in each way. So this is what I'm getting. So I don't think the answer is much useful. Let's use the another question about bike maintenance. So definitely it should be. So the question is here, how do I keep my bike maintained between the shop visits? Let's see what's says coming. So it says, I put the answers here. So it's saying based on the review. So you can see this is generated by LLM. So it giving the LLM wrote this based on the top 5 record review written from our vector search. Let's try with one more question, the last one. What are the most common problem or complaint people have with their bikes? That's interesting. Let's see. Okay. The main complaint is the review is sizing. One rider gave me the bike 2 star because the sizing chart was way off. The frame felt too large. Yeah, that's exactly what we are looking. So hope you understand how creating the RAG or AI generated output in Azure SQL, how simple it is. So some of the features are still in the evaluation, but still it's going to be a big change in the Azure SQL, how it's going to be work in the future. See you again. I will be catch up with another one more AI video. Hope you enjoy this video. Thanks everyone.